I definitely forgot to get announcements ready. But we have the free group that starts tomorrow and goes tomorrow to Sunday. So make sure you are commenting and interacting in that, because it's awkward when no one interacts and then I'm like an awkward potato. And then I'm trying to think. May 19th, what is today? The 16th. May 19th is when Carl makes his big announcement, which I know they're talking about the bike, but there's some product, because I don't know if you guys saw the thing of him holding the thing with the blurred out. So some type of product they're launching. And so that'll be exciting. The Arizona trip, Sarah G is still in the lead with 3 coaches. And then I think it's Ashley and Sarah Landis. So actually the only 3 people on the board since that I've seen since she's updated are R3. So that would be fun to have more people. I just noted there's more boxes. That was not there on my house before. Sorry, I just am noticing that there's electric boxes on my, those were not there when I left for work on Friday. Okay. Anyways, so that is all I can think of. Does anyone else think of any announcements? I can't think of anything. Summer Strong sale, $20 off. That's all I can think of. 9-week Control Freak is coming on Beachbody On Demand soon. I don't remember when.
I think maybe May 24th.
That sounds right. Like the end of May, I think 9-week Control Freak is coming on to BOD. So if people want to do that, obviously they can do off the wall, but they could just buy like an accessories pack and do the regular 9-week Control Freak. A lot of us did that, so we know how freaking awesome it is. And so that'll be good. Okay, I'm going to let Sarah take it away. She is going to talk tonight. You should be able to share your screen and all that good stuff. So I'm going to let her take it away.
Okay, let's just, okay, can you see my screen? Yes, okay. So just a little background. So I feel like thought I was starting to like do the tracker and things, probably like a year ago, maybe not quite, but so when I signed up for Beachbody, I signed up with the intent to be a coach, knowing that I probably wouldn't do it right away. I just kind of gather information, see what I'd be comfortable with. So it was a while after that I started actually coaching. And then I don't know if I just got overwhelmed or too much was going on or what, but I kind of just took a step back from it. And so recently I started jumping back in. And so I'm going to kind of talk through how I view the tracker differently versus then versus now, and how it seems to be working a little bit better for me. So first, I'm going to talk about I'll break it down how our tracker breaks it down in just a little bit of a different order. So be the proof of the product. So use the products and the workouts. And I mean, I'm sure especially once you start inviting, there's thousands of other workouts, thousands of other programs out there. And so to know why you use Beachbody, I think is really important. I know for me, I was using the workouts, and it's the only workouts I've used that I've actually been able to stay consistent with. So that's why I use the workouts. But for a long time recently, the last few months, I had been looking at using other protein shakes like Young Living or Organifi. There's a whole bunch out there, but I never actually tried them because I realized that I'm not looking for just a protein shake. I like how Shakeology has all the dense nutrition that it provides. It's not just a source of protein. Plus, it's the only thing that I've had that actually helps me curb cravings and things like that. So that's some of my why. But whether you use what products you use or if you've tried other ones, just knowing your why I think is really impactful, and that really helps you guide other people too when you're signing up, because then you can elaborate more on why you choose to use those products specifically. And then onto personal development or professional development. This, I think all the coaches here would agree, is very vital. However, I would say it's also easy to bombard yourself or to burn out on PD. I definitely feel like I did that. I mean, if you want to have PD for your faith, your personal life, your Beachbody business, you sure can. But I know for me, there's some seasons where that's too much. So then I just cut it back. So it's for you. So do the things that are going to actually improve you. If you start a book, or a podcast and it's helpful, but then you get halfway through and it's not anymore, like feel free to just put it down because it's for you. And then also another thing I learned with professional development or personal development is that none of them are ever going to have all the answers. So like don't just keep flying through them thinking this one's going to have all the answers or that one's going to have the answers or this one's going to set off my business. I mean, they sure can, but they're not going to have all the answers. So you need to make sure you're taking little bits at a time and you're also taking time to apply the things you're learning. So leave it if it doesn't serve you and then make sure you're applying the things that you do learn, because otherwise just listening to them and having them go one ear and out the other isn't going to help you or your business. And then for my why, so Beachbody is a part of how I choose to live my life, and I decided to just start embracing that. So I thought of when I talked to friends and family about Beachbody, I felt like I kind of shied away from it, like, oh, are you still doing that? And unless they were doing it with me, I'd kind of be like, yeah, I am, like it's going good. But I decided I don't want to be that person that's just like, yeah, like it's working and then share about it on Instagram. I'm like, no, I should be sharing about this because I want to share about it with my friends because it's working for me. And so maybe it could work for them too. And so that's kind of my why, is that I always wanted to be that person that worked out consistently. And I'd see those girls around me and I'd be like, I wish I was like that. But I never really was. And I feel like since doing Beachbody, I've been able to show myself that I can do that. And I wanted to show other people that they can do it too. And so that's kind of how I fell into my target market. I know this is something that I think we talk about from the very beginning when you start coaching, is find your target market. And for me, I know they say like there's different ways to find it, but it was just really hard for me to like pick, oh, it's college girls or like people that are just married. Like it was hard to find a niche that I was trying to reach out to. And so for me, I decided that I ended up like I just wanted to be my friends for the longest time, even when I wasn't fully coaching or actively coaching. I still had like my small accountability group, which was my college roommates. And so I'm like, this would be so much fun if I had more friends in here. And so that's just my target market, is the people that like, oh, they carry a conversation with me. It's easy to get along with. It's maybe we have something in common. It's just those people that you're like, oh, I would want you to be my friend. And then that for me too is a lot more natural to be like, hey, I'm doing this program. Would you want to join me? Or like, there's this really awesome promotion going on. Would you be interested? Could I send you more details? And so that's how I kind of found my target market. And then it also helps too if I mean you're looking at someone on Instagram or interacting with their stories, it's just easier to be like, oh, this would be someone that I would want to be friends with, and then kind of keep connecting with them. And so if you already know your target market, or if it's something you want to think about, I definitely would encourage thinking about your target market when you're looking at this next step, which I think is kind of like the meat of actually actively coaching. So what is your business model? Think of your target market and who your desired audience is and how you're going to engage with them. So like I said, my target market was people that I want to be my friends. So I'm going to approach people like they're my friends. I'm not gonna, it'd be different depending on who you're approaching. And so to make it feel like I'm not just initiating connections and followers and doing posts and sharing stories, liking all these new things on random things, I'm gonna do it like I'm doing to my friends. So that makes sense to me. I remember a long time ago, um, before I kind of took a step back from coaching, I'm like, these are just a lot of steps. It's like 6 steps. And I'm like, there's some days where it's really easy, but a lot of days it's really hard to do all these things. At least I thought it was for me. And so I kind of broke it down into what flows best. So I figured out that when I share stories and make posts, it's a lot easier to make connections with people because I can see who's been viewing my posts and my stories. And I specifically look at those people to interact with and connect with. So I either look at their stories, like their posts, or personally DM them. Same with if I make like a poll on stories or things like that, I'll personally reach out to them and be like, oh yeah, that's what I do too. Or like, that's so cool that you think that. Like just try to start a conversation from there, because that for me that feels a lot more natural because they're the one viewing my content. And so I feel like almost that they initiated it even though I'm the one reaching out to them. And then after that, those are the people that I invite. So kind of taking those 6 different steps from the connect, invite, and follow. I kind of just break it down to 3 because I know if I'm not making stories or I'm not sharing posts, then like the other ones aren't going to fall into place. It's just not going to feel natural. So then lastly, getting people results. This one I think is, I don't know, for me, I feel like it's easy, yet it's also challenging at the same time because I mean, we have the accountability groups. It's important to check in with the people that you sign up, but sometimes people just don't respond, or it's hard to get people results if they're not putting in the effort as well. So, really, all I have to say on this is make sure you're contributing to your BOD groups, checking in with people like they're your friends, seeing what's going on. Recognizing achievement is also a big thing. I know for myself, I love when people acknowledge me and cheer me on. So, like, making sure I'm doing that for my challengers is really important to me. And then obviously answering questions and things like that from either your coaches or customers. But also with this one, I like, since it's kind of a struggle for me, I want to make sure that I'm offering something different than what my challengers could get from somewhere else. Because I mean, we're all different coaches. We like to coach in different ways. And Brianna brought up the point that um, I think on the last call, like I have had a friend that was in my wedding that signed up with another Beachbody coach. And I thought about it and I'm like, when they signed up, I probably wasn't actively coaching, so they didn't know. Plus, I just had a small challenge group and was just doing like sweaty selfies. Maybe that it wasn't real consistent because I kind of fallen off. I'm like, they should have signed up with someone else that's going to provide them consistent accountability, that's getting them in different groups. And so I'd really challenge each of you to, like, if you have customers already, or if you're looking to be more of an active coach, to think about what you have to offer because we're all different. And so think about who your target market is, what you're offering, because we can all offer the accountability group, but what are you specifically doing? Are you checking in with everybody each week? Are you like sending free samples every once in a while? Like, how are you different from another coach, and how is that serving your target market? But that's all I had. So if anyone has questions or if Brianna wants to elaborate.
Yeah, can you go back to your slide where you talk about your why? Okay, I love this because she talked about Beachbody is a part of my life and how I choose to live my life, and I decided to start embracing it. By a show of hands, how many of you feel really awkward when people talk to you about Beachbody in like real life? Like when you are having a face-to-face conversation and you're like, okay, this happened to me all the time at school, right? I would have people who'd come up and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I see you do Beachbody. Like, how do you like it? And I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's good. Like, but if they messaged me that on Instagram, what would you do? Oh my gosh, I love Beachbody. Like, I love the workouts, these, but it's like, I don't know, maybe because we can hear their tone of voice and we can like, I don't know, we can't filter what they're saying or think of what we want to say right before they like, we respond. We have to give them an immediate response. We like panic on what to say to them. And I used to, right? Like I used to tell no one I was a coach, or like I'd have my shaker cups, right? That would say like Shakeology on them or whatever. And people would be like, oh, you do like, oh, what does that mean? Coach Brianna, right? And I'd be like, oh, it's just a thing I do. Like, why? Like on my social media, I share about it all the time. Why wouldn't I talk about that? And Sarah talked about her excitement, right? You'd be like, yeah, I'm still doing it. It's okay. But it's like those people closest to you, you're seeing in person. Why are you not talking it up just as much? Because they can see your excitement. They can hear your tone of voice. And that's going to carry over way more than any other thing. Or like, how do you respond when people say like, oh, you're looking good, like what are you doing, right? Like I used to be like, oh, thanks, I just work out. Like, why am I not telling them about this? And so I know Angie and I have conversations too, because she's like, I don't like inviting the people at my school, but now guys, I have 2 to 3 teachers from our school, and we're small, right? We're a staff of 30 people, so at least over 10% of our staff now does Beachbody with me. And then I started, it was so awkward, my students' parents, like some of them I accept on Facebook because whatever. And now I have 2 to 3 like FFA parents who are also doing it with me. And so it's like really cool because they're like, one of my officers, her mom is doing it and like her daughter's doing it with her too. So it's fun because she'll come to class and she'll be like, she's doing Let's Get Up in our group, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, that workout last night was so fun. What did you think of it? And it's just like, why do we hide this part of our lives? So when you're in person, that's when we should be talking about it. Or I feel awkward, like the Arizona trip, right? I feel very awkward when I'm like, oh, I'm going to Arizona. And they're like, why are you going? And I'm like, oh, it's just like this trip I earned with Beachbody, right? Like I glaze over it because I feel like people are going to judge me for it. And it's like, no, this is a trip we earned to go on because of what I'm doing. And so I just really like that. I'm trying to think what else. I had other stuff that I was thinking about. What did I put in the chat? So I didn't forget. Yes, know what works for you. I think we get so caught up, like Jess talked about on her stories today, like if it's not working for you, change it. Like Jess knows what fires her up and doesn't. And so when she has people who are like her, like when she has a challenger who comes to her and is like, meh, this isn't really working, or she sees someone who's like not showing up anymore in the challenge group, like being like, yo, you know, you can change programs. Like some people feel obligated to completely finish a program, and kind of like Sarah talked about with personal development, if you're dreading it or like you're not pushing play because you don't like it, change it. Like that is the beauty of Beachbody On Demand, that you could go on there every single day and do a different workout. So if you don't like it, don't do it. I'm a firm believer that we should at least try like different things, right? Like, and not be like Isaac, who has only done lift 4 ever in his life. I don't even know how many rounds of lift 4 Isaac has done, but it's like the only workout he ever does. I don't know. You were on mute, so I don't know what you said. A lot.
I purposely did that, but I said too many.
Too many, yeah. Eventually we'll get Isaac to try something else. But and so just like know about it and be confident. And guys, remember, you're the expert. I used to feel so like I was gonna tell someone something wrong about Shakeology because there's so much to it. And if you watch the National Wake Up Call, it was good, right? They talk about, the one lady's like, I just read them the crap off the back of the bag. Like, you don't have to be an expert on it. Like, read the back of the bag. But we feel like we have to, like, most of our people, you'll have some, and then I send them the nutrition label, but most of our people want to know how it makes us feel, right? Or how it makes other people feel. They don't really necessarily care about what all the roots and stuff like that are in them, right? And so having those personal experiences, and even if it's like trying, like you might not buy beach bars, like I finally just started getting, I get 1 box of beach bars a month, just because my Beachbody bill is getting I spend too much money on products. But like you guys were at the retreat, like you guys at least could tell them what it tastes like, that they're softer than normal granola bars. Like they fill you up, like the chocolate on them, like that gives me my chocolate fix for the whole day because there's actually a lot of chocolate on them, right? Like, you know, these things just by trying it every once in a while. And so I just really like how you talk about that. We don't have to be proof every single product works, right? We just have to be proof that if you're consistent over time, it works. Anyone have anything else to add? Okay, Sarah, I'm going to interview you. Not like crazy. I'm not going to throw you off like I do Angie and ask you what kitchen utensil you'd be, but why did you flip the switch? Like, what made you start all of a sudden being like, yeah, I want to get deeper into coaching?
So, okay, I will say that, especially like this last month, or like the 40% off, or like the CEO codes, like I love good deals, and like having had used Beachbody, and like literally $40 off like a challenge pack like that, it's like a third off. So I'm like, somebody needs to use these codes. And so honestly, like I think that really helped, because like I was determined to have someone use those codes. And like the more I could get out, the more I'm like, they're gonna love it. And like even if they love it for 3 months, it's worth it, because I know Tyler pays like $30 a month to go to the gym. So it's like it's worth it, and they're getting products, not just the workouts. Plus, a lot of those people too, I will say, I think I reached out to them before, and they either like said, no, I'm not right now, or like gave them more details, and then they're like, no, I'm not interested. So like the people I was signing up with those $40 off coupon codes were people that I invited before that said no. So I think that, and then also like having like kind of shown that I was using the products before, and then kind of just fell off everything and was still using them later and was showing that, I think that showed some like, oh wow, she's like still using it. It wasn't just like a thing that some people were like, oh, I want to try this too, because she actually stuck with it and is still doing it. Like, I want to see what that is. And so like that, and honestly, just I decided to start embracing it. I'm like, why not just share it on like this slide? Like my why and my target market. Like, why not share what I'm doing on social media? Because even if they don't sign up with me and they're already using something else, I wanted to be that girl that worked out consistently. And so I'm still doing my, like, fulfilling my, the first half of my why. And like, even if they're already like using another program, if they're like, yeah, but seeing you every day inspires me or reminds me to get my workout in, I'm still helping inspire other people to be healthy. And so like, even if they don't sign up for me, like, even if I don't have any sales or I don't even do a workout because it's a rest day, like, I'm still fulfilling my why. And so to me, I'm like, why not share it? If it's my why, I'm like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. So that's kind of why. That was kind of a big ramble, but yeah.
You're good. It's expected on this team because I ramble on all the time. But and think about like the ripple effect. That's what I think of when we talk about your why and embracing being a coach, because I think it can be hard where I was a huge person, right? And I've told you guys this before. Like, I hated Beachbody coaches because I'm like, flaunt what you got, like, cool, like, whatever, you know? And it was a jealousy thing, right? Like, I was overweight, like, I was very unhappy with my weight and all that, but like, I wasn't willing to work hard and they were, so I was jealous of what they had. And then it's like, why not embrace it? Like, I wouldn't even wear Beachbody tank tops out in public because I'm like, oh my God, what if someone says something to me? And now I feel like my whole wardrobe is like Beachbody shirts and stuff like that. And I'm a walking billboard. I haven't gone to the extreme of putting stickers on my car. I've thought about it because, like, my friend, like, if any of you know Michaela Mo, well, only if you went to SDSU and were an ag major, you'd probably know her, but that's besides the point. Like, she has her 31 stickers all over the back of her car. Like, she is someone who fully embraces it. And so it's like, just do it, because what do you have to lose? And you think of how you can change a life. Like, I think of all of you are probably here because besides Mackenzie, she came to me because of her sister, but otherwise, like, all of you were invited by someone. And so you think, like, if I wouldn't have invited Angie, Callahan wouldn't be here, you know, and like her and her boyfriend wouldn't be getting healthier. And like, if I wouldn't have invited Sarah, Sarah's people wouldn't be getting healthier. And it's like this huge ripple effect. And so I think when we keep that in perspective, it's a lot easier to share, because I know, like, talking to some of you, you guys say you would go insane without your workouts. And it's like, what if we could do that for others? And so invites can be hard to send. And I've talked to a lot of people. I know they can be hard to send and scary, but we have to remember that this is a really big opportunity for people, especially like the business side of it and the workouts. Like, it is like, these workouts can change everything for someone. So we need to start treating it like that instead of we're trying to sell them something, because none of us are just like saying like, well, I just want your money and then I'm ditching you. Like, you have to remember, you are not salesy. Like, the money transaction is just for your time. Like, you spend so much time pouring into your people, and that's what that money transaction is for. It's not because you just want to make $1 million. It's because if you went to a personal trainer, I mean, that's how much money. So when you flip the script, it's a lot easier in your brain. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
I would just say that along with inviting, yeah, it's definitely intimidating and scary, but I think once you find your target market and like you find out how to engage and interact with them, like once I figured out, I'm like, oh, I'm just reaching out to my friends because like having something to invite to all the time is really helpful, because then what do I have to offer? Well, I have something new to offer. That's why I'm messaging you again. Like, I'm messaging you again because I have $20 off codes or $40 off codes. I'm messaging you again because there's a new program. Maybe this you would be more interested in. And so like always having something new to offer, like even if it's something changed in your accountability group, like, hey, we're doing a whole bunch of recipes this month. Like, would you be interested in joining my accountability group at this time? Like, going back to what you have to offer and then just asking a friend. Like, if I get ghosted like that, I'm kind of okay with that now. And I will say too, when I was doing like the tracker a year ago, I would have the little like numbers on my Instagram like messenger, and I would get so anxious because I'm like, what if they like say something back, or what if they said no? And it was just so much anxiety. But now I'm like, I get so excited to see them because I'm like, oh, did someone comment on my post, or like are they interested? Or sometimes they even say, oh no, I'm trying something else. I get excited because I'm like, you found something that's so good, because for years I wouldn't work out because nothing worked for me. And so just like interacting with them in that way, I'm just like messaging them to interact with them. Even if it started with an invite and was just ended with like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I'm glad you found something you like and I hope you have a great week. Like I still feel good about it. I don't feel like, oh shoot, like I didn't fulfill my goal or succeed. It was still like a fruitful conversation. And so I think that really helps if you go into inviting with that mindset too.
I love that. You are such a selfless coach, and I love it because you are just like, I am so happy for you, whatever life brings your way, which I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. And the book I've been reading, Get Out of Your Damn Head, Angie would say too, is really good. And like the big thing she hammers home is you have to tell them what's in it for them. Like no one's going to sign up for you like for any reason other than like what is in it for them. So like how Sarah said, like, hi, I'm back here, you know, like obviously she's not telling them like I am messaging you again, because I mean you could. My humor, like when I message people many times, right? I'll be like, hello, just me popping in and like messaging you once again about something going on, you know, and you put a funny emoji and they laugh about it. And like some people, like I always, right, we worry about how many times we follow up. How many of you guys have been like, oh my gosh, I've messaged this girl like 3 times and she's going to be like, oh my God, you're annoying. Okay. I have had multiple people tell me, thank you for continuing to like follow back with me. I can tell you care about me because I keep following up with them. And like I simply put in my follow-up message, like, hey, you've been on my mind lately. Cause like I do, I think about them every time I scroll past their name. You've been on my mind lately. What are you up to? Or I say, you know, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. I have this coming up. Can I send you more details? Could you imagine if someone messaged you about your makeup or whatever and said, hey, I haven't forgotten about you? Because how many people feel like they're unseen in this world and that they're forgotten about? How many adults feel so alone because they feel like no one is like paying attention to them? Like how powerful is that to know that like we are paying attention? Like I don't know, I always think it's crazy because I could probably list off like 100 names like out of my head and write them on a piece of paper of people who watch my stories, but it's like how many people are aware of like that many other people in their lives? And so powerful stuff. Anything else? Anything? Okay, let's take a picture and then we're gonna go because I'm gonna walk my dog. I haven't closed my rings today. My dog's like dead. I should stop recording.